Okay, guys, you might notice a little cut here. I'm really annoyed now because, for those who don't know, I have a pretty basic older laptop, so rendering videos takes a really long time if I can't directly upload the recording file. And for whatever reason, Higurashi crashed, for over 40 minutes in, and now I'm going to have two decent sized recording files. This will take hours to upload now. Great. I don't know why it crashed either. That's the first time it's ever crashed. I think this is about where we left off at. Yeah, okay. At that time, he heard it. And by the way, I didn't even save, so I just sit here for a few minutes and just keep on holding down the skip button. At the time, he heard a woman scream in the background. He happened again, he heard another scream. Tomotek got the sense that something was happening inside the hotel. And his intuition told him that someone was checking every single room with the master key. Tomotek opened the curtain a little. He saw several mountain dogs who were blocking all the ways out of the hotel. How long had they been there? And finally, they finally found where he was. Tomotek could hear their loud footsteps. He heard voices too. This one's empty. Next, the cheap hotel wouldn't have chains on the door. They had no means to fend off the master key. Tomotek could tell where there were around 20 of them. No, maybe there were more. It would be no use trying to fight with them. All you could do was hide. Under the bed or in the bathroom. At the very least, the ceiling wouldn't open up like in the movies. Should he jump out the window? It was the second floor after all. It was perfectly possible to survive a jump. They would be expecting that, however, yet this was right on city grounds. If he was confident in his legs, it wouldn't be impossible to outrun them. Tomotek heard footsteps outside his door. This was it. He jumped from the window. Of course, there were mountain dogs on the ground waiting for him. They pointed out about 6 of them started running after him. Tomotek shut off right from the position he landed in. This took the mountain dogs by surprise. He started to dash right after he jumped out the second floor window. Tomotek was prepared to do something like that. He had been training in case of an emergency just like this one. Skylark 10 to Skylark 1. We've located our target. He's running. We need assistance. Skylark 1 to Heron. The target's heading west using the back alley. Stop him. Roger that. Heron 2, 3, and 4 head on over there. Here comes 3. That's him. 3 members of Mountain Dogs jumped out from behind the street light and stood in Tomoteke's way. They prepared to stop him, but Tomateke kept running at full speed. They quickly realized he wasn't running towards them to knock them down. He was trying to run past them. There was no point in taking them and then taking a fighting position. They lowered themselves to try to tackle him simultaneously. Now, Tomateke jumped over them. He jumped over them like an Olympic athlete leading over a hurdle, but he wasn't an Olympic athlete, and they weren't hurdles. Tomateke still struck one of the dogs, and the two flicked Tomateke thought they'd seize hold of him. However, as he flew over them easily, he grabbed onto the two of their heads and smashed them against each other. Tomateke knew that this wouldn't stop them, but at least he'd get a little time to run. The target broke through the west intercept team. He's still running. Damn it, what are you doing? Heron 10, go around the car, take the second left, and we'll get him at 9 o'clock. Are you okay? Shit, don't let him get away. With strength. Shit, my nose is bleeding. Tomateke saw a van with its door wide open ahead of him. He couldn't stop in time and hit a wall. As soon as it stopped, the several mountain dogs jumped out the van. Stop him no matter what. Stop him. Come on, there are 5 of us. Tomateke saw 5 men ahead of him, but he didn't think those 5 could stop him. Why did trains sound their horn at people on the rails? It's not because the train will get damaged, it's because the people will get hurt. Get away! He yelled at them like the horn on a train. He wasn't warning them because they were in his way. He was warning them to move so they didn't get hurt. Look how many we are. We outnumber him 5 to 1. Don't tell me we can't stop him. No way. There's no way you can get past us. Let's go. Tomateke didn't grin. After all, trains don't grin. Oh. We captured Tomateke. Really? He didn't take that long. I want to ask him some questions. Don't kill him, okay? Bring him over here. We'll kill him afterwards, but I've already gotten a great way for him to go. No, he got caught? No. Oh, shit. The phone continued to ring inside Tomateke's empty hotel room. Within 30 minutes, Tomateke was dragged through the back door to the Art Institute wearing a gag and handcuffs. Tomateke didn't even move as he thought he was sedated. Oh, no. As though he was sedated. The mountain dog members had carried him out of the van. I already saw Tomateke from his window and came out of his office in a hurry. Takano was already there. Well, what's going on here, Takano-san? The mountain dog silently glared at Irie. He realized that he shouldn't have left his room. I didn't see Jiro sign for a while, so I became worried and had the mountain dogs look for him. It was a good thing I did because it looks like he's gone terminal. He's developed terminal symptoms. Are you sure? Of course, Tomatake didn't reply. I already decided not to say any more. I see. That's very unfortunate. Let's give him some medication as soon as we can. Of course. I hope it's not too late. Ari already knew the Mad Dogs had chucked them down. Ari wasn't sure if Tomatake was able to arrange something with Tokyo. He wasn't sure even if the Bloodhounds had been called in. He could guess that Tomatake didn't have time. If the Bloodhounds were called in, the Mad Dogs would have catched that information, and if that was the case, they'd likely drop everything and run. But Tomatake was captured, and they brought him back to the Institute. That meant he hadn't gotten that far, and they were still trying to fix the damage. In other words, Tomatake wasn't able to do what they'd hoped for. What were they going to do with Tomatake since they brought him back alive? Were they planning to torture a confession out of him? That would be very dangerous for him. He'd likely end up dead. Ari realized that he had to do something in Tomatake's place. The main reason why Ari had to rescue Tomatake was because he had no way of contacting Tokyo on his own. The Kana wanted Ari to be useless, so she never told him about how to get in touch with Tokyo. Ari could receive phone calls from Tokyo, but he could only manage what? But he could only call them through Takano. Therefore, Tomatake was the key. Unless Ari rescued him, they couldn't possibly win. But Ari wasn't like the Mountain Dogs. He simply was a researcher. There was no way Ari could rescue Tomatake from such a high security area. There were 8 Mountain Dogs in the building, and there were usually only 2, but Takano had to call in more. Of course, the basement was a highly secured area, and one needed an access card to get in. That card was only given to people in Ari's position. In addition to the access card, one would need a fingerprint match as well. The access card alone wouldn't do it. Therefore, the only person who could rescue Tomatake from that high security basement was Ari. And so, even if it was impossible, Ari had to do it. Ari bunched up his hands into fists and held them tight to encourage himself, but only noticed that his fists were shaking. Ari, did you forget? I remember what Akasaka told him. But it's very hard to anticipate your own danger. You can't underestimate it. You might not even get a chance to make the phone call. If you sense something odd, that's an emergency. You knowing the seriousness of the conspiracy, they won't hesitate to kill us. Whew. Please be careful. Ari felt the cold sweat pulling on his back. It was this emergency Akasaka was talking about. He shouldn't think that it was still okay. He might lose the chance to run. He realized that trying to do something by himself was foolish. He had security access card, true, but that he had to rescue Tomatake by himself. And just like how everyone else was trying to combine their efforts, he should also ask for help. Also, Tomatake was in their hands, which meant the Mountain Dogs had realized they were under attack and were preparing to counter. It was very possible that they were suspicious of Ari too. Once they broke into Rigefude's house, I don't know, they didn't even say okay, whatever. Ari's lives would be exposed. Indeed, this was an emergency Akasaka was talking about. Ari had realized that he was already in danger. He needed to leave immediately. The Sonozaki residence was gathering spot in case of an emergency. His allies were congregating at the Sonozaki residence. He should explain the situation to them and think about how to rescue Tomatake. Takano probably wouldn't kill Tomatake immediately. She was intending to kill him that night as the 5th year's curse, so there was still time left. He had allies, and with the security access card, there was still a chance to rescue him. Ari had to let Akasaka know that he was escaping. If he became suspicious of Ari, they would check the house, and Akasaka would be in danger too. In other words, it could cause a chain reaction. Ari didn't miss his last chance to escape, but he still had to do his final job. Ari picked up the phone and assessed Rika's phone number and left. It would continue to ring like that, sending an emergency signal. Ari thought back to when he was wondering how long he was going to stay in the director's room. He never knew this day would come so suddenly. He noticed the framed picture of his parents on his desk. Ari had become a doctor so he could clear up the misunderstanding between his parents and regain his family ties. But how did he get involved in something like this? No, he would return. He would return and continue to fight against Nemazawa syndrome. He vowed to himself that he would never abandon that responsibility. I'll be back, Mom and Dad, Ari said his final goodbye and left the director's office. Major, there's a call from the director's office to an outside number. The phone number is the R residence. Yeah, what does that mean? Can you listen in? Of course, I'll put it over the speaker. One of the members flipped the switch. There was a sound of a ringtone. Why is Dr. Ari calling that house now? Maybe R really is at home and he's trying to let her know that Tomatake has been captured. That might be it. He has no idea we're listening in. What was Ari going to talk about? Takano waited patiently to eavesdrop on the conversation. There was nothing but a ringtone. It had been over 30 seconds. There was no answer. Nobody was home. The director sure is patient. I guess he's sure that she's home. Major, we have the director on security camera at the back door. The black and white guard display monitor showed that Ari's running out the back door. What's going on? Who's calling from the director's room? Takano became utterly confused, but the ringtone continued. It couldn't be. Takano finally realized what was going on. It's a trap. He knew we were listening in, so he made a fake call. Ari is a traitor. Catch him. Security room on the first floor. Stop Director Ari. The target is heading to the staff parking lot from the back door. The two mountain dogs who were playing cards at the security room on the first floor jumped into action. The security room was located next to the back door, so Ari was still within reach. Ari made a serious mistake. He could have left the clinic during the 30 seconds Takano and her men were listening to the ringtone, but when he got to the parking lot, he realized he forgot his car key in the desk in the director's office, so he had to go back in and get it. It was only at this point that he realized he shouldn't have gone back. He should have escaped on foot, but Ari wasn't used to emergencies unlike Akasaka. It was a typical mistake any normal person would have never gone through anything dangerous would make. Although he made mistakes, he didn't forget to call Akasaka. People usually become extremely clumsy when they're in a rush. All he had to do was turn the key, but he couldn't even do that smoothly. He kept turning the key, and finally the engine started. Ari still thought that he was alright. Even if one of them questioned him, all he would have to do would be to say that he was going to have to get something. When he realized the handbrake was sweaty, his left hand, he saw two of the mountain dogs dashing in the back door. As the two of them looked around, Ari's eyes met with one of theirs in the rearview mirror. He pointed at Ari's car, and the two of them started running towards it. The two of them looked extremely serious instantly, not like they were chasing after him to return trap pin. Oh, Ari's body was soaked with sweat. Before the two of them could jump in the car, Ari stepped on the gas pedal and took off after the spinning its wheels. Of course, the dogs didn't give up. They got into their own car and started to chase after Ari. Security at the base. The director is on the run in his car. Do you want us to force him to stop? Major, this is Takano. He's probably headed to the Fude Shrine. There are many people there, so it's impossible to catch him. Fine, don't worry about his injuries. Don't let him go. Stop him by any means necessary. Roger that. We'll force him to stop. Send backup just in case. Over. Roger that. We'll send Nightingale's backup, but don't wait for them. Stop him right now. The mountain dogs had Ari's car in their view as it ran away at full speed. They had to find a perfect spot and timing to stop him. It's not easy to drive a car when you're in a rush. Of course, the more you step on the gas pedal, the more speed you gain. And when you're in a hurry, you can't control the steering wheel well enough to escape quickly. Ari could see his pursuers in the rearview mirror, and he was completely distracted by that. He was driving carelessly. He was driving so reckless that he could easily get into an accident on his own. As the fear was driving him into confusion, he made a wrong turn. And that mistake made him even more confused and panicked. Come on, Director, you're going to lose your license for driving like that. Although the two guys were ordered to stop him, they were starting to think Ari was going to get into an accident without them doing anything. They'd rather not drag us into a car chase if they didn't have to. Does this Phoenix 1 security vehicle come in? The commander, security vehicle here. We're still chasing him. We're on the path to the forest near the 5th district. Not sure of the exact location. We're heading in your way as backup as per HQ's orders. Estimated time of arrival is 15 minutes. Don't wait for us. I don't think we'll be there in time. Okanogi grumbled and he had to leave. He had to leave Okanomi in a hurry to respond to Major Princess. Because of the distance, there was no way he could get there in time. Even so, he was still ordered to provide backup. He could have explained, but the princess wouldn't have listened to him anyway. The mountain dogs were there. Okanogi smiled bitterly. In which direction are you heading? In the worst case scenario, we'll end up leaving town. Don't let him. We'll come to the hills for him, so we'll break his legs. Is there anybody else? Any weapons? It's in the middle of the forest. There's nobody around. We have one submachine gun in the security vehicle. The guy in the passenger seat reclined it and climbed at the back and lifted one of the season. Took out a black machine gun. The paint on one corner was coming off and the shiny silver metal was exposed. It was a machine gun, but it looked less powerful as an ordinary one. However, the one dog extended a shoulder stock and set it in place, and the weapon looked far more vicious. It's an MP5, correct? Is it A5 or SD3? The man in the backseat looked at the uniquely shaped gun barrel sticking long. It's SD3. It has a silencer as well. You're allowed to fire. Shut his tires to the full burst. Roger that. We're attacking. The guy in the back seat opened the driver's side back window and leaned out the front car. His sharp eyes aimed at one of the tires on Ari's vehicle. It was a straight road. Ari's car was weaving, but not enough to avoid a shot. The pursuers had his car in their sights. They were trying to get as close to Ari's car as possible, but they were afraid they might get caught if it's overturned. They soon decided that was as close as they were going to get. I'm going to fire on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, fire. The sound the machine gun made was a lot quieter than what people would have imagined. It was powerful was unimaginable. One of the tires on Aaron's car was cut to shreds and collapsed in a puff of white smoke. Because one tire collapsed, all of a sudden Ari lost control of his car. He tried to steer away, but that made things even worse. As it spun, Ari's car drove off at the shoulder of the road and slid down the slope into the forest. Wow, the sound of cheese breaking and the car being battered from every direction disappeared down the slope. The pursuers stopped their car and looked down after it, but the plants were growing so high it was impossible to check from there. And the attack was a success. The target vehicle went down the slope. It's impossible that the driver is dead, or it's possible that the driver is dead. We're searching on foot. Phoenix, one of Roger and Nightingale's in the area. If you're lucky, you run into them. We aren't even close. I'm counting on you. Good luck. Roger, ending transmission. Let's go. The mountain dogs left their car and headed into the woods without hesitation. Akasaka had received the phone signal from Ari. The phone rang for over 3 minutes. The signal told Akasaka that Ari was in some kind of emergency and that Akasaka himself is in danger now. The Kano made a mistake. She didn't realize the ringtone itself was the signal. She assumed someone staying at the house would pick up the phone eventually. Her error allowed Akasaka to receive that extremely important forewarning. Akasaka waited for exactly 3 minutes and ran downstairs quickly. He already put on his shoes on while listening to the phone ringing. Akasaka memorized the layout of the town from the map he kept near the phone. He knew the shortest route to the Sonozaki residence as well as the number of alternative routes just in case the shortest was already blocked. People would be surprised to see a stranger coming out of the house, but Akasaka didn't care about the moment. He had to get to the Sonozaki residence immediately. However, the observers would see him, and that was a problem. They'd soon come after him. Upon finding the house empty, they'd assume the man who ran from it knew something. Once Akasaka has left Rika's house, he had to be prepared to fight. He relaxed his shoulders and reached for the doorknob. Major, there's a message from the unit observing our residence. A suspicious man just exited the house. A man? Who is it? Actually, I don't care. Just catch him. Loud and clear. We'll pursue it and stop him. It was only 10 a.m. It was a lively morning. Many people were getting ready for the festival. Akasaka weaved through the people going in the opposite direction and ran down the stairs leading from the shrine. The mountain dogs was already chasing after him. There was a significant gulf between the happy faces on the villagers and the serious faces on Akasaka and his pursuers. He could hear them coming up behind him. He didn't even need to turn around to check. Akasaka held his breath, focusing all of his senses to their limits as he sprinted even faster than he usually could with all his might. The success rate of an escape depends on the distance between the pursuer and their pursued. Even a little distance makes a difference. Akasaka ran down to the bottom of the stairs like the wind, then headed in the opposite direction, away from the Sonozaki residence. Of course, this wasn't a mistake of his. He just wanted to lose them. Shit. Oh, what speed? Does he have wings on his feet or what? The observers weren't ready for this chase. They never expected a fast and fully grown man to run out of the house. They assumed it would be a little girl. That assumption was their mistake. Besides, Akasaka's locomotive-like power was nothing like that of normal people. There's no way they could catch him. The mountain dogs fell for Akasaka's trick. They called HQ and told him that he was headed in the opposite direction and followed them that way. Akasaka was confident that he could have had them completely confused if he had a little more time. Not only that, he could have attacked them individually. Were there 3 pursuers? No, there were probably 4 of them. His mind and body and skills were all in top condition, so it should be possible for him. Usually overrating oneself is dangerous, but Akasaka was such an immature level. Resisting violently at a place other than his destination might prompt him to waste manpower and time. But Akasaka was assured of the real meaning of Ari's phone signal. They were at a severely level emergency. Akasaka had no time to waste, so he had to get to the Sonozaki residence. As Akasaka ran as fast as he could, he tried to think about the situation calmly. He could attack them first and then head to the Sonozaki residence. The pursuers were scattered about and running out of breath. It would not be easy to fight 4 men at the same time, but it would be difficult to take them on one-on-one. When Akasaka decided he had high enough chance of winning, he took a deep breath and made a U-turn around a street light. What? The mountain dogs were surprised to see that the man who was running away from them was now running towards them. They prepared themselves to fight, but before Akasaka even reached them, he had already had everything all planned out in his head. He had calculated how many blows he would be required to take them all out. But his calculations were wrong. Without even needing a second blow, the first pursuer dropped after one of Akasaka's legendary armor-piercing punches connected his face. And while the first was still in the air, his second armor-piercing punch took out the second pursuer. Damn. I definitely need to take a few-minute break here, guys. This is gonna be a long video. Okay, that was only like 2 minutes, but whatever. Skiing late. Okay, there was a chorus of cicadas, which woke up Ari. He needed a little time to realize what had just happened. His seatbelt had saved him from serious injury. However, it was sheer luck that the metal parts of the seatbelt didn't get tangled and that the door didn't become warped. He was on the bottom of the slope near a different forest road. Ari endured the pain and removed the seatbelt. He got out of his car soon after. He heard someone walking towards him through the bushes. A pursuer. He couldn't get caught just yet. If he was captured, it would be impossible to rescue Tomotaki. Not only that, nobody would ever know that Tomotaki was captured in the basement of the clinic. Even though Ari knew he was helpless, he couldn't falter here. The only thing he could do was resist them and run for as long as he could. Besides, as soon as he started to run, Ari realized that he had no strength. His legs were shaking and he couldn't even see straight. He had only been stopping on the gas pedal, but his lungs were about to explode and his brain was locking in oxygen. It had to be that certain type of exhaustion that caused immediately after hyperarousal. Ari understood that intellectually, but she still couldn't get his body moving. He tried to run, albeit in a wobbly way. He heard a noise coming from the slope behind him. This was it, but Ari still tried to run as far as he could. Security HQ, we found him. He's injured. He'll capture him. Ari heard the voice of the pursuer. Shit, he thought, what he couldn't do. I have to run. I have to. Carve into your hearts the spirit of retreat. As Sean saying, what's that song you've been singing? Don't you know, it's really popular nowadays. My apologies, I'm rather ignorant when it comes to pop music. There was a wrecked car ahead. White smoke was still visible, so the accident must have just happened. Kasai slowed down. What is it? Oh geez, hey, is it that coach? The car stopped. The sound of the brakes startled Ari, and he fell in his behind. Ari was obviously the one who had been in the accident. Hey, coach, is that your car? Shion-san. Are you alright, Dr. Ari? You should go see a doctor. We'll take the coach to the clinic so he can treat himself, huh? Can you stand up? I'll take you there. No, not the clinic. I can't go there. I have to go to Sonozaki residence. Oh, coach, what's going on? This isn't good. Kasai looked at Ari's car, then looked around the area. Then he whispered to Shion. Shion thought he must be in some kind of trouble. What kind? There are bullet holes in Dr. Ari's car, and they don't seem to be from an ordinary handgun. Really? You take that and let's get him to the main house. The two of them loaded Ari into the backseat, got into the car, and left in a hurry. We have to ask the coach what's going on. He can't go back to the clinic. I wonder what he means. It sounded like he was running away from someone there, but I don't know. It's obvious that he was involved in something dangerous. Hey, where are you going? Sean was confused. That's why Kasai made the wrong turn. Dr. Ari's pursuers aimed for the tire of his car. They wanted to catch him alive. His pursuers are likely close by. Or if they after us, there's no car behind us and nothing in the air. In this area, it would be impossible to follow unless they're tailing us. I'm going to make another left turn just to be safe, and then head to the main house. Could you watch what happens behind us? You got it. Security HQ, the target is picked up by a civilian vehicle. I'm sending the my suspect number and the car model. Roger that, Nightingale, your target is a civilian vehicle right now. Search for it immediately. Try to capture Dr. Ari alive. Neutralize civilians as well. Dead or alive. Are you sure? Are you going to find him? Don't worry, there's a tracking device on the doctor's coat. Nightingale's vehicle could catch a signal and they could pinpoint where he is. Ari was lying in the back seat wearing his white coat. There was a device on his collar. The security department put it there just in case. So no matter how hard Shion tried to look for anyone following him, the enemy already knew exactly where they were. This is Nightingale 3. You found the vehicle. It just made a turn by the watermill. There was a map of Hinawazawa on the table in the security room. The path by the watermill led to a certain private property. It belonged to the Sonozaki family, and the Sonozaki residence was the only building on it. Major. Oh, like the rats in a trap. This is Phoenix 1. Nightingale, don't head in yet. Phoenix will join you in just a little bit. We'll go in together. This is Nightingale 1, understood. Okanogi, don't give them any time. Why don't you let Nightingale go in? This is bad connection. Nobody listens to me. The Sonozaki family's based on a security system which displayed images captured from the various security cameras on the property. Of course, it was as high-tech as the one at Iron Institute. It was in the room on the second floor of the Gasho house, a Japanese-style room where you had to kneel to avoid hitting your head. With the bundles of wire snaking away from the monitors, it felt like a hidden chamber. There was electricity and a phone nearby, and although it was in a basement, it had all of the basic amenities of the Sonozaki residence. At first, all the club members had watched the monitor curiously, but after a while, they got too hot in such a tiny room. Mion and Rina stayed in the room to observe the monitor. Mi-chan, look, there's a car. That's Kasai-san's car. It's probably Shion. Well, she came because the festival is today. Geez, why does she have to come now? I don't have time for her. Their granny had been at the shrine since early this morning, so there's nobody upstairs to answer the door. And if Mion didn't answer, Shion would think that nobody was home. Mion wondered if she could tell Shion what's going on. Shion could be helpful sometimes. Kasai stopped her from the gate. Someone's getting out. Huh? Mi-chan, look, is that the coach? What? They saw Shion and Kasai holding Ari on the monitor. Obviously, something serious had happened. Let's move. Rina, Ki-chan, come with me. Satoko, watch the monitor. Rika-chan, don't come up. And you made sure Rika-chan doesn't move. Leave it to me. I've got it. That's not fair. Maybe Okanogi made the right decision, and if he had let Nightingale go and Estakano had ordered it, it would have been on the monitor. But Okanogi ordered them to stand by until another unit arrived, so they waited. So Mion didn't notice that the enemy was about to attack. By this time, there were many vehicles belonging to the mountain dogs parked by the windmill. Okanogi and Phoenix 1 had joined the Nightingale, and they were ready to head in. However, it had been a good idea to leave Satoko to watch the monitor, and if Mion hadn't gone out, Ari would have been killed. Mion didn't know it yet, but Ari was their only hope of rescuing Tomotake. So, as a result, entirely by circumstance, they did everything correctly. Sis, I wonder if he's gone to the shrine already. Shion! Where did you come from? Oh, yes, we're in the basement, weren't you? I'll tell you the heck where you're playing down there. Who cares about that? How's this coach? Coach. Is he alive? Huh, are you all in trouble too? What's going on? Shi-chan, listen well. It's like this. Coach, what happened? Oh, I'm sorry. The mountain dogs got Tomotake's-san. He's in the clinic basement. I got into an accident while they were chasing me. I already explained everything while he could, enduring the pain. Everyone was happy to see him safe, but Mion's expression grew stern quickly. Then she asked Shion a question. Is anyone after you? Nobody was following us. Come on, let's go in. I have a bad feeling. They heard the sound of a car approaching, and it wasn't alone. Who could it be at the time of day? It was a waste of precious seconds to even think that. You idiot, they are after you, Shion. I'm telling you, nobody was following us. Kasai picked up both sisters and ran through the gate. Let's go to the basement, so it'll be safe there. Meet me outside, and there are a lot of strange cars approaching. I know. Go back to the basement. I'll shut the door. Where's Rika-chan? She went to the secret room with Hanyu-san. This is Nightingale 6. We found the target. Someone, there are friends there too. Ours hiding there, I know, right. Jiro-san. Tomoko was lying on the floor of the security room. His hands and legs were cuffed, and there was another pair of handcuffs to connect them, leaving him bent backwards on the floor. He couldn't get up or even turn around. Takano laughed and poked Tomotake's head with the toe of her shoe. The mountain dogs climbed over the fence easily. There was no need for anyone to explain at this point. It was obvious that they were the enemy and that they were the mountain dogs that Rika had spoken about many times. They went through the grove of trees and headed for the entrance of the underground storehouse. The first 5 minutes... No, not 5 minutes. The first 5 mountain dogs were supposed to capture them all, but they all fell down one after another. Just as one of the mountain dogs started to wonder where they fell, he felt something on his leg. The next moment, he was flying through the air. Shit, as he slipped, his leg got pulled again. He realized that there was a rope wrapped around his leg. Because of the way he fell, the rope was wrapped around tightly, and it wouldn't come off easily. Be careful, there are traps in the bushes. Satoko had set up lots of traps in the bushes. After all, she wouldn't just sit around all day on an empty property. The club members headed into the underground storehouse one after another. The mountain dogs couldn't do anything, although they did see them. I'm closing the door. Come on, help me. Here we go. It was a heavy door, but when they easily put the strength together, it was closed easily. Mia unlocked the door quickly, putting on a deadbolt for good measure. Do you think this will be enough? Do you think they'll break this door, don't you think? I saw 5 or 6, or perhaps even more carts on the monitor. They're all vans, and I saw strange men inside of them. I don't think this door will be broken that easily, but I imagine they're used to doing things like this. We shouldn't underestimate them. Before he could even finish speaking, someone pounded on the door. It looks like a group of mountain dogs have arrived, although the heavy door separated them. It wasn't at all comforting to know that the enemy was just on the other side. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. You haven't done anything wrong. Let's go further in. Yeah, let's find out how many there are. Okay, fine, leave me out of this. I'm just an outcast. Oh, shut up. I'll explain when I have 5 minutes to spare. Nightingale 1 to Phoenix 1. The targets are in the basement. There's a stair door here and we can't break through. Phoenix 1, roger that shit. The sounds like your family must be so rich. The property is too huge for us to surround, so we won't even try. Let's join Nightingale. Nightingale, knock some trees down. We'll use them to ram the door. Phoenix 7 and Phoenix 1, we have some plastic explosives for indoor use. You want us to get them ready? Plastic explosives are explosives for military use. There are various different kinds, but you're talking about the type specifically to break down doors. Okanogi momentarily thought it was a good idea, but changed his mind right away. This was a small village. If there was an explosion, everyone would hear it. It was daytime and they were on the surface. It was the worst time and place for the mountain dogs to do their job. An explosion isn't a good idea. Wait a minute. What time is it now? It's almost 10 a.m. I see. Phoenix 7 will do it. Get the fuse ready. Huh? Commander, what does 10 a.m. have to do with an explosion? Okanogi's mind was working sharper than ever. He was sure that this would work. Everyone gathered in the secret room. Is everyone okay? Oh, we're watching the monitor. There are about 30 guys out there. That many? That's not good. Can I see? Look, they don't know what to do. When Mion touched the switch, the screen switched to the view of them entrance to the basement. Some of the mountain dogs were checking out the door. They didn't appear to be trying to force it open. They were simply at a loss for what to do. What do you think they'll do now? They think we're trapped rats in here, so I'm sure they're going to try breaking down the door. What the heck were they doing with that log? They must be thinking of using it as a battering ram. Sugo just said they're assuming we're trapped rats. We should get out of here while they're trying to open the door. I agree. Besides, we have to rescue Tomoteru-san. You're right. No matter how strong the door is, we'll be in big trouble if they find us. I think it's time for us to escape. Sis, don't you think we should call the police? Oh yeah, we completely forgot about that. Even if, despite the police station overhears us, there really isn't much you can do at this point anyway. I'm sure Wishi will come right over. Leon picked up the phone. Why didn't she about this earlier? What? What's the matter? Leon picked up panic as she tried to listen for a dial tone. The phone, what's going on? I don't hear anything. They must have cut the line. What? Suddenly, as they went dark, what was this power failure? Kasai laid his cigarette lighter, and Mion turned her emergency flashlight on. This is their drawback about a basement. But they won't be able to see either, right? I know, but they might have some kind of device that lets them see in the dark, don't you think? Mion, why do you think they cut the electricity? Are they just going on the offensive? And nothing else. It worked to turn the security system off. They were checking out the door. They didn't give up. They have a way to destroy the door. They have a way to destroy the door, and they don't want us to notice it. That's why they cut the electricity. Are they going to blow up the door? The door could be destroyed in a second, so we can't stay here, right? Mi-chan, let's get out of here. Show us the way to the hidden escape route. This way, everyone. Mion was getting confused. Amidst all the chaos. No, I'm gonna cough. Okay. That's done. She hadn't underestimated the mountain dogs. She even considered that they would have some explosives, but she didn't think they would use them in Hinoisawa in broad daylight. Somebody would hear the explosion. Is there even such a thing as a silent explosive? What a rough bunch. They're not even concerned with minor risks. This is a crazy situation, but the mountain dogs are always very careful. I don't know about the Gano-san, but there's no way Okanogi-san would allow an explosion in the middle of the day. Yet they are still going to do it, huh? They've got guts. I don't know much about them, but just like a silence on the gun, aren't there like silent explosives? No way. No matter what you do, an explosion sounds like an explosion. Oh, I get it. You're a staff member for the festival, aren't you, Coach? What time do they let people know if the festival is going to take place? I'm pretty sure it's 10 a.m. And do you think it's just like on check on the field day? If you want to hide a tree, hide it in the forest, huh? Rika knew Okanogi well. He would always complain about how he had to guard her like if she was a princess. Rika never expected Okanogi to be so sharp. That's why she was more frustrated than anyone else. The mountain dogs had quickly set the explosives on the basement door. Long wires were connected to the explosives, and the mountain dogs were waiting at the other end, lying flat on the ground. One of the members was holding a detonation switch. All the wires were linked to it. It's almost 10. This morning I thought it was bad luck that this happened the day of the Higurashi festival, but now I'm glad about it. Okunoki had realized that he couldn't use the festival effectively. He was going to make sure his enemies got what they deserved. On the morning of a village event, they used fireworks to let everyone know the event is going to take place that day. This method is often used for track and field days at schools. Since when Higurashi starts at the evening, the fireworks go up at 10 a.m. The fireworks, of course, made loud explosive noises. The city was always located in a ravine. The sound echoes, making it hard to figure out where it's coming from, and that was an advantage for the mountain dogs. Now, a loud noise and a shock shook the ground like an earthquake. The explosion must have warped support beams everywhere. There was a discomforting squeaky noise, and the dust fell from the ceiling. It certainly was powerful. The explosion must have blown the door wide open. An explosion that took place without anyone noticing it. Come on, this way. Mion led everyone into one of the rocky caves. There was a well-hidden shaft in there. They called it a hidden well, but it was actually a very eerie vertical tunnel. They didn't have enough flashlights for everyone, so there's no way for them to see the entirety of this ominous hidden well. Are you telling us to go down there? How far does this go? This is a horizontal tunnel crossing it after about 30 meters. We can get into the mountains through the tunnel. Okay, why don't you go first, sis? You know the way around here better than anyone else. Huh? Do I have to? Who else? Kasai and I will be the rear guard. Come on, hurry up. Okay, and Mion was going to volunteer to take the rear, but Mion and Sean knew instinctively because there were so many of them, the rear might not make it in time. Unlike the iron door at the entrance, once the enemies were inside, all they had to do was go through the inner doors, which were easily breakable. The route was basically a straight line, but it probably won't get lost on their way. That's why Sean took the rear guard position before Mion did. After all, she was actually the older sister. Sean wanted to protect her younger sister, who was playing the older sister in this real emergency. Mion intuitively knew what Sean was thinking. Mion understood well the relationship between her sister and herself. She wasn't the only one who felt guilty for taking the older sister's position. Sean felt guilty for making Mion take on the responsibility of the family head, and here, finally, was a chance for Sean to atone. Mion said, "You have the key to the armory? Now it's the time to open it." Mion suddenly threw over the key. Kasai and Sean took it and ran deep into the rock tunnel. Listen, everyone, it's about 30 meters to the horizontal tunnel. If you fall, that's it for you. It's dark, so be very careful as you go down. If you end up waiting, make sure to light the other way for the others, okay? I think only one or two can go down at the same time. I'll go first. Come on, give me something. Give me some light. Yeah, something careful. The ones with the flashlight should be careful too. If the lights turned on, they could have gone down quickly. There were actually a few light bulbs inside of the well. Of course, I had already checked them. It was now certain that the enemy had cut the power to the basement. It was extremely dangerous to go down this well with just a little light from the flashlights. As one went down, there had to be people lighting up the way. Mia was right. She realized as she went down herself that this was almost impossible to go down the ladder without the weak light from the flashlights. The lights didn't reach all the way down. In the darkness, her feet suddenly became unsteady, and every step that she took made her more nervous. It's about 30 minutes to the horizontal tunnel. That's quite deep enough already, but the hidden well went deeper than that. If Mion fell, she wouldn't have just injured herself. That hasn't been 30 meters yet, she thought. She couldn't even remember exactly how long 30 meters was yet. She missed the horizontal tunnel already. At that time, she felt a cool breeze on her body. She could have sensed a huge hole nearby, so she took out a flashlight to light the surrounding area. She saw the black tunnel yawning before her. Oh, okay, here I go. Ha ha ha. Okay, I found the tunnel. Rika-chan, come down. Mion lit the way from below. Okay, you're next, Rika-chan. Go. You go and then hand you the Satoko, okay? Then let's move. I already wanted to say that he would go last, but Rina would give the order first. They couldn't get into the basement of the clinic without Ari. Without him, they couldn't rescue Tomotage. Their lives were all equally important, but at least for the moment, his was the second most vital after Rika. Please be careful, I'll light your way. Okay, come on, everyone, hurry up. Rika was much shorter than Mion. She couldn't go down the ladder easily. Her legs were too short and her left foot slipped. I'm okay, damn it, I'm sick of this life where I never grow up. I'll pass through Juno 1983, and I'll grow taller. My boobs will get bigger. I won't stay like this forever. Though she had been living for over 100 years, Rika was still afraid of heights, as though she As she fought that fear, she tried to climb down as quickly as possible. After a while, the light from the top didn't reach her anymore. Mia's light from below lit her away. Mia's light was enough, and the next person could come down. I'm okay. Whoever's next can go. Okay, Coach, you're up next. You're a grown man, so go down quickly. Right, I'll go next. The mountain dogs moved forward carefully, wearing special goggles so they could see in the dark. The one in front noticed Tuco's trap and stopped the rest of them in. Nightingale 7, Nightingale 1, I just found a wire trap. Be careful coming in. Roger that. Phoenix 1, there are more traps. Why don't we all turn the lights back on? Idiot, that'll only help them escape more easily. They must be having problems trying to escape in this darkness. We have to give them as much trouble as possible, corner them in darkness, and we'll get them. This is a huge cave system. There must be another way out. They won't try to hide. They'll try to escape. Give the assault unit some firearms, bulletproof shields, and grenades. The Sonozakis are basically a major Yakuza family, assuming they can counter us with smuggled weapons. Which means watch out for those tripwires and claymores, unless you want to end up with thousands of lead pills in your body. They'll shred you apart. Roger, Satoko's traps were effective only because they were professionals. Satoko had assumed any professional wouldn't miss her traps more dangerous ones. That's why she ran wires everywhere. And Satoko is right, although the mountain dogs were successful breaking down the iron door, they hadn't even reached the torture room. However, the huge cave with the hidden well was just on the other side of the door to the torture room. It was just a matter of time before the enemy caught them. Okay, Reina, you're next. Yep, you come down in a hurry too, Kichi-kun. Kichi-kun, how is it up there? Reina's coming down right now. She's moving right along. Okay, don't fall. The rumor says that all the people who were opposed to this Alonsaki family were dumped into this well. It's a bottomless pit. What, Sean, what the heck are you carrying around? Sean had returned the big machine gun in her hands. What the heck, Kichi thought it was one of those machine guns they use in war movies. Its defining characteristic is the way the magazine bent forward. It was called again. Kasai had one in his hands, too. He appeared using handling machine guns. It almost didn't look real, but it seemed like a natural fit for this surreal world lit by only flashlights. And Kichi felt like the odd one out here since he didn't know how to use a gun. Shion and Kasai hid on the opposite sides of the cave so they could see the entrance to the torture room. Not only Kasai, but Shion also seemed to be used to doing things like that. So Shion, I'll do that, so why don't you go down next? Thank you for the manly offer, Kichi, but it'd be much quicker if you went down swiftly than if I had to explain how this Kalashnikov works. Kalashnikov, don't worry, a pretty girl like me will never die. As Shion winked at Kichi, they heard a door being knocked down nearby. Immediately, Shion and Kasai's looks turned stern, and they took cover behind the rocks, aiming their guns into the darkness. The enemy had entered the torture room. There was a flashlight next to the door. Kasai had left it there. The mountain dogs seemed to be able to see in the darkness, even though they couldn't, so it was an improvised solution. The footsteps of the mountain dogs were growing closer, and they were passing through the torture room. In other words, the door was the only thing separating them from their enemies. Kichi-kun, hurry. Sean, you go first. Sean-san. If something happens to you and I live, my sister will never forgive me for that. I don't have a loved one anymore, but she does. What are you talking about now of all times? I don't plan to die, but please tell Shion this. I want us to be twins again in the next life. Get going. Shion yelled, telling Kichi to move on. He didn't understand why Shion said to tell Shion, but she asked him she had to convey that message. Otherwise, if she says something, something terrible will really happen, Shion's message would never reach me on. An explosive look shook the air. Something was thrown from the torture room. The explosion from that and the noise from Kasai's machine gun sounded at the same time. The clamor echoed in the cave. All I can do is those violent flashes of light burn the series of images into my eyes as I shed tears over my own intolerable powerlessness and climbed down the ladder. Mion quickly screamed from below. I descended and screamed up to the top of 2. Nightingale 1, they attacked us. The enemies are trying to stop us from the huge cave on the other side of the torture room. There were 2 muzzle flashes, probably AKs. Whoever it is, he's a professional. Phoenix 1, give us an order. There we go. Our opponent is a professional. Don't go in unless you graduated from the killing house. Nightingale 1 and Phoenix 2 and Phoenix 7 and 8, get ready to move in. How many firearms do we have? We have 4 MP5s and plenty of grenades. We couldn't trust our bulletproof shields, so we abandoned them. There is a flashlight on the right next to the entrance. I'm assuming they don't have a device to see in the dark. Nightingale 1 here. We're going in. Throw in some grenades when I give you the signal. Well, the enemies were quiet because I charged his magazine. Or changed. I don't know what to say. Sean said, that's enough. Please go. If I go, they'll follow you while you reload. You can't do it by yourself. This was a contradiction in what Xian just said. According to her theory, the last two could never escape. Mian kept shouting from the tunnel below. Damn it, Xian, hurry up to come down. Everyone knows it wasn't safe to stay. But nobody could stop Mian from screaming. Mian and I shall wait for Xian here. Rena, why don't you take everyone else and escape it to the hills? Okay. No, I don't want to lose anybody. Rika, this is the final world. There's no more starting over. I don't want either Xian or Kasai to die. I don't want a future like that. I know we can't redo it, so no, I don't want to do it. Xian, please come down. As they looked up to the top of the well, they saw a violent flash and they heard a roar. Oof. Big oof. And they heard explosive sounds, different from the sounds of the machine guns that Xian and Kasai were using. They also heard a tinkling sound, and which could have been the sound of bullet shells. They couldn't see anything other than the flashing lights. Only the noise reached them. When everything stopped, after a light silent footsteps that then belonged to Xian and Kasai gathered at the top of the well, they could hear hard-soled shoes kicking the bullet shells as they walked. It's clear, Nightingale 1 to Phoenix 1, we secured the loopholes. That voice echoed down the well. Mian and others heard it too. They didn't know how to react. Some became speechless, some started to cry. Some let out a wordless scream. They looked up the well as they waited for Xian and Kasai to come down. But there was no sign of them. A brightly beam of light shone down from the top of the well. Ari grabbed Mian and Kichi's collars to pull them back. They could see in the dark. They might already know that Kichi and the others were hiding in that horizontal tunnel. Roger, we'll try. Can you hear us? You don't need to reply, just listen. A guy shouted from the top of the well. We want the Queen Carrier, Rika Furta, and Director Kyosuke Ari. You misunderstood something. We are here to eradicate a unique local disease. What's happening right now is because we suspect the Director's involvement is in a conspiracy. He had nothing to do with this. Turn them over to us. They had already turned off all the flashlights so that nobody could tell what kind of expressions were going on in each other's faces. But I could sense Mia's expression distorting, and because of the darkness, nobody knew how to stop her from screaming. You murderer, you killed Xian. Are you talking about this girl? Don't worry, she's still alive. She's just unconscious. She's alive, Mi-chan. Mian didn't rest easy at their nuts, but though, because she couldn't. No, Xian's survival wouldn't help resolve the situation. Same with the guy, he's alive too, but if he refuses to turn those two over to us, we'll have to use them as both as bargaining chips. What are you going to do to them? As Mian looked up to the top of the well in the dark, it suddenly became very bright and she saw something unbelievable. Xian was unconscious and one of the men was holding her. She was basically sticking her body out over the edge of the well. And this man let go of Xian, she would fall to the bottom. They had no idea how far down it went. There was no way she'd survive. Xian didn't reply, but she moved a little bit. Xian was alive, at least for the moment. No way. They won't push her off. Huh? What are you saying? They can easily kill a hostage if they have more than one. They have Xian and Kasai sign. He'll push Xian off and just ask the same question again. He means it. Mian lashed out fiercely at Kichi. He regretted saying what he just did. I'll give you a little more time to think, but after 60 seconds this hostage will go down. Think it over very carefully. But what should we do? Mian was half crazed with fear and panic. They want me, let them think, because Sun has already escaped, I'll go. They should be satisfied with just me. That plan sounded like the best idea for minimizing damage, but Rena quietly spoke up. No, Ch.8 and Kasai risked their lives to buy time so we could escape. If we went back, what they did would be wasted. Then what do you suggest we do? Are you saying we should let Xian die? Or are you saying you don't care if Xian dies, Rena? Fucking damn you. Please stop me, son. I don't know what to do either, because Xian-san, my Nini. Wow, Xian. Mia started crying as she held Satoko's head. The mountain dog's beam of light shone into the horizontal tunnel. Their eyes had grown used to the darkness, so even with a little light they could sort of see one another. But so what? This was a desperate situation, and Mia and Satoko continued to cry. Rina bit her lower lip, trying to hold her feelings in. Ari simply looked down. As for Rika and Hanyu, they were restless. What do we do, Hanyu? I don't know what to do. I don't know either. Hey, you're a god, aren't you? Do something. Your psychic powers are not giving enemies down and help Xian. Only a miracle could save her. You're a god, make a miracle happen. Stop. They all heard a strange sound. Everyone was surprised at what caused it. Hanyu just slapped Rika in the face. Rika, listen to me. Hanyu, we both have experienced many worlds and we have learned much. Sometimes you learn and sometimes I learn. We've learned so many important things, and now in this world we've learned the most important thing. Something we've been pursuing, something we finally got. Do you know what that is? It was how to make a miracle happen. A miracle is like a number you get on and die. People think that the result of the world depends on God's mood. God holds the key to miracles. Humans don't have the right to control them. But although humans don't have the right, they can perceive. They can perceive how to improve their odds and how they can make a miracle happen. How to make a miracle happen. Rika, you should already know. You learned it before. You learned it before I did. This world must be precious to you. Why don't you try it this one last time? Rika's mouth hung open. That's why she thought I had forgotten again how to make a miracle happen. You all go ahead and escape. Rika stood up. Everyone wants to hear what she said. Ari, take them. I'll go out there. Takano means to kill us both, but she wants to kill me in a certain way, so she won't kill me for a while. Are you kidding me? You'll end up dead anyway. If I don't go, she and Kasai will be killed. I'll let them capture me and take the time. And the time it will take Takano to kill me will give you a chance to counterattack. Rika-chan. Thinking about it now, the answer was very simple. As she spoke, Rika stepped out of the horizontal tunnel and reached the ladder. The beam of light shone down on her. In this dark world, her figure seemed almost holy, like someone was just receiving a divine revelation. Because we all believe we can win. You, me, even God believe in it. This is nothing. Nipa? Rika smiled, told him that she trusted them 100%. She believed someone would come and rescue her before she got killed. That's why she didn't mind letting the enemy capture her. If it would save Shion and Kasai's life, then it was nothing. I'm coming up right now. Pull Shion back, okay? The mountain dogs pulled Shion's body away from the edge of the well. If you even think of touching my friends, I'll bite my tongue and kill myself. Takano wants to kill me personally, so if that happens, you'll be in big trouble, okay? Alright, come up. Let's go, all my friends go. According to your plan, they'll all die anyway. No, we can't do that. We won't kill them, but we have to restrain them. Well, that's a pity. Farewell. Be faster to let go of this ladder than to bite my tongue. This is a very deep well. If you can't produce my corpse, then that ruins your plans too, doesn't it? As long as I captured Rika, and the mountain dogs didn't really care about the others. They were ready to kill the rest if they persisted once they had Rika. That's why they wouldn't agree to Rika's request. They started to think that maybe they should just lie to Rika. But that was when they heard something. Hanyu started speaking in a clear voice. It was a voice with a mysterious tone. It sounded like it was coming from below the surface of the earth, but it also sounded like it was coming from heaven. Hanyu spoke. I am saying I accept the deal. Quit complaining and do what she says, low lives. Rika Friday is coming up. You will fulfill her little request. Heaven will not provide to those who won't offer anything themselves. Stop thinking above yourselves, humans. Know your place in this and pretending to be more. Nightingale 1, the member who had been demanding the surrender, was suddenly overcome by a strange sensation. He had been in such an advantaged position, but somehow he didn't seem that way anymore. That girl's voice, there was something strange about it. That voice belonged to something both holy and sacred. He instinctively sensed it. Humans can only negotiate with other humans. It's impossible to negotiate with a greater being than all humans. Wait, I'll check with the commander. Wait a minute. Nightingale, the Phoenix 1. He had been very threatening until just a minute previous, but he had grown completely perplexed. Everyone was stunned by Rika and Hanu's mysterious orders. We will come rescue you right away, okay? Rina muttered as she tried to hold back her tears. Okay, we'll accept your request. We'll let anyone else go. Rika Friday, you come up. Major Takano says there's something she wants to talk to you about. Okay, I'm coming up, Nipa. Have we ever been looking for you, Rika-san? You're an important person, so you can't just disappear like that, you know. That's against the rules. Meep. Rika-san will take you back to the clinic. Everyone else is free to go. The assault unit that led Rika headed back into the basement. They were about to break the rules, too. You aren't going to keep that promise, are you? A promise? What are you talking about? Whoa there, we don't want you to bite your tongue. Hey. As Rika tried to run, Okanogi grabbed her fragile arm. She fought back, but her resistance meant nothing against them. One of the Mad Dogs took out a syringe from the case. It shouldn't kill her, but it probably put Rika to sleep. Takano, after all, didn't need a chatty Rika. She just needed a live point carrier. If Rika got that shot, that will mean the end of this world. Before Rika could scream, the other dogs covered her mouth. Mm. Hurry up and give her the shot. The dog with the syringe drew closer to Rika's arm. Rika was grabbed from behind and her mouth was covered and there was no way for her to fight. I believe, even if I'm asleep, I believe. Rika kept repeating that in her mind. She believed that someone would wake her up. The first thing she'd see when she opened her eyes would be her beloved friends. It happened all of a sudden. The man with the syringe spun in the air and dropped to the ground. Nobody, including Okanogi could understand the sudden phenomenon and defied the very laws of physics. Rika couldn't understand either. The man who was holding Rika from behind spoke up. I made it. I've had sucker, isn't it? His voice had such a heavy feeling imbued in it. I regretted it in countless worlds whenever I realized it was too late. When who? Who are you? The other took a few steps back from Rika and the man holding her. There are many units within the Mountain Dog, so often its members don't remember each other's faces. There were just too many units, so nobody really paid attention. All of a sudden, the Mountain Dogs were more or less well built, but this man had an excellent physique. Even Okanogi noticed that he hadn't seen anyone like that in one of his units before. Rather, he actually wanted to recruit him, but this is what I've been longing to tell you about all this time. Rika-chan, I came to help you. Akasaka, damn you. The hands were holding Rika's left shoulders, left ever so gently, and as soon as they did, they transformed into a pair of furious fists, which implemented themselves in the faces of the men getting attacked from behind. They flew through the air. Akasaka hit those two without even turning around. 5 members of the Mountain Dog surrounded Akasaka. However, he didn't see them. He could only feel the deep emotion of finally being able to do what he had belonged to. The 5 of them sensed it, that maybe, just maybe, he didn't even care that they were there. What are you just doing standing there? Oops, what was that? A signal the 5 Mountain Dogs bore down on Akasaka. 5 Mountain Dogs, okay, well, it's right there too, oops. Rika-chan, stay low, okay. Rika dropped to the ground and Akasaka was left standing. He looks weird there. His hands, man. Okay, Akasaka came back to get a promise he made the girl 5 years ago, but his promise was more than 5 years. Rika knew that. Akasaka probably understood it too. The promise went back over 100 years. For 100 years, he regretted not being able to save her from the conspiracy. He believed that one day there would be a miracle and he could travel back to this day. That's why he continued to train himself. His strong will and Rika's wish made that miracle happen. That one and only miracle allowed Akasaka to be here in Hinamizawa in June 1983. The first one went down in time. It took Okanogi to blink. Lowering himself to grapple Akasaka had proved fatal. He wasn't so soft as to let such a perfect openings go by. Akasaka's hand smashed into the back of the man's head, and his blow was powerful enough to smash a pillar of ice or shatter a mountain of tiles. As it happens, Akasaka was holding back a little so that his target wasn't too injured. Akasaka goes all out from the very first shot. That's why he needs only one shot. He is unrelenting. Akasaka's well-trained fist continued to knock down the Mountain Dogs one member for every time Okanogi blinked. One hit per opponent was all Akasaka needed. This was the true essence of karate. Akasaka's colleagues praised and feared his power. His power is like armor-piercing ammunition. But weapons are useless against him. No matter how hard his victim tried to protect themselves, they meant nothing to Akasaka. But he was too strong for the Mountain Dogs to even understand that. It was as if he was a giant that they had to crane their necks up to see. Akasaka didn't even give them time to think. Someone from the Mountain Dogs must have called for backup. About a dozen more members had arrived. Don't worry, Rika-chan. As long as I'm here, I won't let them touch you. Meep, I'll draw some pictures while I wait then. As Rika stayed low to the ground, she picked up a stick and carved into the dirt. That made Okanogi even angrier, but he calmed himself down. Then the warrior's intuition resting in Okanogi's blood came to realization. Numbers didn't matter. Even the full force of the Mountain Dogs wouldn't be able to defeat this monster. All the combat units were still down in the basement. There was no way they could take him. Okay, guess if I take you down, huh? By the way, I remember you now. Your face brings back memories. Boy, you sure grown, huh? You. It can't be. You don't recognize me. It sure has been a while, huh? You've grown a hell of a lot. Good to see you again. It's been 5 years. This was the man Akasaka fought when he was investigating the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. Akasaka had still been inexperienced then. I was ordered to go easy on you, so I held back, but I won't hold back today. And that fat guy won't come help you either. Still, you have sure improved a lot in the past 5 years, so I'm happy. I've been hoping for something like this for 5 years. The rest of you stay out of this, he's mine. Okanagi took off all his equipment, threw it on the ground. He loosened one button and then positioned himself. Seeing that, Akasaka realized he was somewhat capable and narrowed his eyes in vigilance. Okanagi took that as an insult, that Akasaka only thought he was somewhat capable. His behavior was telling Okanagi that he viewed him on the same level as the other small fry. Akasaka first moved to take a stance and avoid getting Rika involved. Akasaka hadn't even moved one bit until just then. Okanagi could easily see that Akasaka was extremely strong, but at the same time he thought he would fairly be simple to take down. Karate may be a martial art, but nowadays it was just a sport. The army combat Okanagi training was completely different. Obviously Akasaka studied a lot, but it was all just child's play. All he learned were routine moves and forms. Besides, the karate moves are fairly straightforward. Okanagi was confident that he could fight any karate pro and win. Okanagi started leaning into his toes and using his malicious footwork. In contrast, Akasaka still had to move from his back stance. Akasaka was acting as if Okanagi's footwork was simply a trick, which infuriated Okanagi. Okanagi moved fiercely and nimble in his manner, completely different from how Akasaka was moving earlier. Akasaka remained calm, but Okanagi saw it differently. He can't react to my movements, so he prepared to take damage in order to deal more. Whoa. Akasaka couldn't defend himself from Okanagi's quick jab, and it connected his face. It was a quick but light attack. Its purpose was to distract Akasaka and create an opening for Okanagi. Okanagi knew that Akasaka would use his arms to guard his face instinctively. Okanagi's real purpose was to attack his abdomen, which would be unguarded. Of course, Akasaka didn't have time to guard himself. It took more than just good kinetic vision to prevent his attack. Only Okanagi, who trained for many years, had perfected the speed of that technique. Normal people would struggle helplessly while vomiting if they were to experience Okanagi's kick. If he could he could even rupture internal organs. So it's pretty amazing that Akasaka was still on his feet. Hehehe, that's the matter, Mr. Karate. Can't you fight back? What? Akasaka mumbled something, but Okanagi couldn't hear. Actually, he did hear it, but Okanagi never imagined he could say such a thing in this situation. So he couldn't hear it. He couldn't comprehend it. Too light. What did you just say? Your attack is only meant to defeat your opponent. That's why there's no weight to it. Huh? What are you talking about? Karate nourishes you spiritually. To attack others, you have to learn to be attacked. When one learns how much pain and grief their own blow deals to others, they finally understand the meaning of striking another and being struck. You aren't even close to that level. That's why your attack has no weight to it. Are you saying that I'm still immature? Okanagi attacked Akasaka again, but this time, Akasaka was different. Akasaka blocked Okanagi's fist and legs. Of course, Okanagi was still the only one attacking. But Akasaka had started to become more aggressive, and now as Okanagi attacked, his hands and legs were being injured. Okanagi instinctively sensed that he was in trouble. He thought Akasaka was just a police officer, but his movements were too dangerous. He was merciless and he was dangerous, so Akasaka's training and experience was far past Okanagi's. Wait, that dynamic heel kick isn't karate, is it? Akasaka's heel kicked missed Okanagi's head by a millimeter. You just do something other than karate, don't you? No, I only do karate. Don't lie, some of the moves you're doing aren't karate at all. Okanagi was starting to become impatient. The reason Okanagi ridiculed martial arts as sports was because they were all hard-headed, only used set moves. That's how you strike in karate. That's how you punch in boxing. This is how you throw in judo. It's easy to learn, and that's why it's easy to win. But Akasaka was different. He said he only did karate, and he must have spent unthinkable hours training, yet he was flexible enough to not be confined only by formatted moves. This was understanding the spiritual level. The spiritual martial arts is just forms. One simply learns forms to reach that spiritual level. Therefore, for one who has reached it, there are no forms. What Akasaka had was a philosophical spirit. I'm disappointed in you. Shit. Akasaka stepped away from his original spot for the first time. He moved forward. He filled the space between Okanagi and himself as an inescapable conviction. As Akasaka walked closer to Okanogi, his Akasaka's assault radius tried to swallow him whole. To be within that radius meant death. Okanogi walked backwards to avoid being in that radius, but that was a result of his clear-headed judgment, not because he was scared. You don't even know the meaning of an attack. I'll teach you just how significant it can be. Oh. As Okanogi moved backwards, his back hit the van he came even earlier. He was cornered. Having your back to a wall didn't mean you were at a disadvantage, but the more he was pressed against that wall, the further at a disadvantage it became. If Okanogi let Akasaka come any closer, Okanogi wouldn't be able to take a combat stance. Okanogi decided it immediately. The last chance he had was the moment before Akasaka took his next step. Akasaka's foot left the ground. He was taking another step. Now, go to hell. No tricks, no feints. Okanogi lowered himself and attacked with everything he had. The attack was powerful enough to break Akasaka's ribcage and rupture his heart. I'm a professional, Okanogi told himself. I can't be defeated by this amateur. Okanogi, you've done something. Good for you. So how much did you get paid, huh? That first one was a little too fast for me to read. Sorry about that, guys. At that moment, Akasaka's eyes opened wide. Whoa. All the mountain dogs heard a noise. It wasn't a noise of people fighting. It was the noise of a traffic accident. Okanogi's blow missed by a slight amount, and Akasaka's fist struck inches away from Okanogi's face. There was a dent in the sliding door of the van. The windows on both sides had shattered, and it looked like the van was an accident. Was it even possible for a human fist to do this? Time resumed its flow, and Okanogi knelt down, falling to the ground. Akasaka didn't miss on purpose. Akasaka couldn't control his fist because he put everything into one blow. Okanogi should thank Akasaka. If Akasaka had been able to control his attack better, Okanogi's face would have ended up like the van. However, although it didn't hit Okanogi's face, it shattered his spirit. Good job, Akasaka. Clap, clap, clap. Rika applauded, but the situation didn't sound like applause. It sounded like Akasaka's fighting spirit was popping like firecrackers. Akasaka pulled back his fist, turned around calmly, and then spoke. Who's next? I don't want to waste time, so why don't you come on me at once? I'll come on me at once. Okay. They knew, everyone knew, that there was no way to defeat Akasaka with the bare hands. They realized they needed weapons. They also needed more people. There should be a better equipped unit in the basement. All of a sudden, things began to move quickly. There were many mountain dogs immersed in the basement. You are not permitted to fire on the surface. I repeat, do not fire on the surface. Phoenix won't give us permission to collect R and retreat immediately. But the mountain dogs who just witnessed Akasaka's battle against Okanogi realized it was time for them to run, but they didn't even care about Rika. Who would even think of taking Rika from him after seeing what Akasaka was capable of doing? When Okanogi regained his awareness, he jumped onto a van of the mountain dogs as it drove away. Since Okanogi took off his intercom device to fight with Akasaka, he had no idea what transpired in the basement. After the mountain dogs broke their promise with Rika, they were supposed to round up the remaining club members. But when Akasaka showed up, the dogs had to be divided into the ground force and basement force, which altered the situation. Kasai had gone on a counterattack, and the other club members somehow climbed up in the well and helped them. Since the mountain dogs were in all the fire on the surface, they realized it would make the situation worse if Kasai fired his guns once he came up after them. Okanogi was unreachable. The Nightingale One had ordered the retreat in his place. Who would bear responsibility for this? It was probably Okanogi's fault for taking off his intercom device to fight Akasaka, as he basically abandoned his job as a commander. But everything happened in the first place because Akasaka showed up, so maybe it was his triumph rather than Okanogi's blunder. Either way, everything was miraculous, but the mountain dogs hadn't ran with their tails between their legs. They had simply retreated for the moment. When they returned, they would have enough men and enough arms ready to kill all who stood in their way, and that would happen very soon. There was no time to waste. Rika, I'm glad you're safe. Yeah, I am, thanks to a miracle. No, it wasn't a miracle. We worked together, and one of us, Akasaka, came to help you, that's all. Well, it's true. Something like this can't be called a miracle. Okay, now it's our turn to attack. Okay, I need a few minute break. This is such a long...